In his book, Meetings with Remarkable Men, published in 1963, Mr. Gurdjieff bids any of my sons, whether by blood or in spirit, to seek out his father's grave and place upon it a prayer he had written. In 1974, 2 Russians arrived at the old cemetery in Gyumri, and after an extensive search, found only a small red stone marking the grave of Ashokh Adash. They had the stone broken up and mixed with cement to form the gravestone. Gurdjieff had asked any of my sons, whether by blood or in spirit, to inscribe the gravestone with the prayer he had written. The Russians had this inscribed. Later, other students added to the gravestone 2 plaques with the prayer Gurdjieff had requested, one in English and one in Armenian. In September of 2012, William Patrick Patterson, a teacher and leading exponent of Gurdjieff's teaching of the Fourth Way, set out on a spiritual pilgrimage to visit the grave of Ashokh Adash in Gyumri, Armenia. This is what he found. Seeing the disrepair that had befallen the gravesite over time, Patterson spent over $1,200 making improvements, being careful to not touch the gravestone itself. Several weeks after returning to America, Patterson was shocked to learn that the grave had been desecrated. The stone perimeters had been broken off and strewn about, and the English prayer plaque chiseled off. Immediately, Patterson sent Gyumri Mayor Samvel Balasanyan a letter with photos promising to restore the improvements and asking that whoever had desecrated the grave be found and required to pay for its destruction. Several cemetery workers had implicated Avtik Melik Sargsyan. Sargsyan volunteers as head of Shirak Regional Service for the protection of historical environment and guides people to the gravesite. Charges were brought against Sargsyan but dropped when witnesses refused to testify. After that, Sargsyan brought a lawsuit against the municipality of Gyumri. The lawsuit sought to have the Armenian prayer plaque removed and prohibit the restoration of Patterson's improvements. The complaint asserted that Ashokh Adash's grave is considered an important monument of the Republic and was untouched from 1996 to 2012. The complaint further alleged that Patterson had illegally interfered with the grave in October 2012. Learning of the desecration and Sargsyan's pending lawsuit, I and 3 other Fourth Way students went to Gyumri in September 2013 to attempt to restore the grave. We met with Mayor Balasanyan and Deputy Mayor Gergen Malkasian. Both expressed support for the beautification of the grave. In Yerevan, we met with Deputy Minister of Culture Vladimir Pogosyan. He said that jurisdiction over the grave rests with the Ministry of Culture. The Deputy Minister acknowledged that Patterson's improvements had not changed the original gravestone and so did not violate any law. To restore the improvements, we needed to submit a request to the Ministry of Culture. 2 days later, we submitted the required documents in support of our request to restore the improvements. We attended the hearing in Gyumri, during which the lawyer for the municipality said about Patterson's improvements, "The grave was not distorted, and the historic look was not changed." Later, the judge decided for Sargsyan, and as a result, the Armenian plaque was chiseled off and restoration of improvements prohibited. Today, 4 years later, the grave of Mr. Gurdjieff's father, Ashokh Adash, still bears the marks of a violent desecration, weeds flourishing, both prayer plaques missing, the English not found, the Armenian in storage. We hope you are considering going to the grave of Mr. Gurdjieff's father. Here are the GPS coordinates. William Patrick Patterson made a film of his 21-day spiritual pilgrimage to visit Mr. Gurdjieff's father's grave. The film travels backward in time as Patterson revisited significant places in Gurdjieff's life and mission to bring the Fourth Way to the West.